Okay, what we're going to do in this tutorial is learn how to use vlookup. Vlookup is a function in Excel, and it's short for vertical lookup. How we're going to use it in this example here is to assign to this column of original IDs a new randomly generated ID. This is the kind of thing that you'll do in order to separate your data between estimation and validation data sets. So for vlookup, what we need is an initial column for which we would like to assign other values, which will be the random ID. And we need to have a table that will associate the original ID with the random IDs. So you can see that here, if you wanted to, by hand, you could take this value, 385, and copy it in here, and then take 696 and copy it next to the 2's. But if you had to do that thousands and thousands of times, it would take an awful lot of time. And luckily, Excel and the computer can do that much faster for you. So here's how it works. We have our data set up. Now we're going to click on the cell that we want to the cell where we want to assign the new value. We're going to press equal, so that's telling Excel that we're going to have a function or a formula, and then we type in vlookup bracket. The first argument that vlookup requires is lookup value, so in this case it's going to be the original ID, and then it's going to ask for a table array. And this is the table that we're going to use to look up the information that's going to go into this new column. In this case, our table array is this table right here. Now, in order to make sure that that vlookup will always look in the same place, we have to make sure that there are dollar signs in front of each of the letters of the table and each of the numbers. And this ensures that as we copy this function down, the same table will be used. If you don't do this, then the table itself will begin to move as we copy the function down. You can try it if you like to see what the effect is, but if you want it to work properly the first time, you have to have these dollar signs. The third argument that we have, which is communicated to Excel through vlookup, is after a comma. You'll see that each argument is separated by a comma. The third comma, or the third argument, is called the column index number. And in this case, we can look at our table, and our table has two columns, column 1 and column 2. So the table in which, or the column index where we'd like to look up the information, is the second column. And this last argument is just, we want it to be an exact match, so we need to put false. Type in false. Then we can close our function, hit enter, and you can see that 385 now appears there. So that seems like a lot of work for just one number that we could have copied, but you'll see that once we move the cursor up and it changes into a dark cross instead of a white cross, and we double click on it, we can see how quickly and how useful this function is, because now all of the original IDs are associated with a random ID that exists in this table. So that's basically what you need to know for the vlookup. In the next video, I'll show you how to use random number generation and vlookup to create two different data sets, an estimation data set and a validation data set from our whole data set.